Bonjour, entrez, entrez.
Hello,
Vous êtes dans la
come in,
maison
come
de
in.
Petite Sœur de
You're in
Jésus.
the
Vous
mother
êtes tous
house of the
invités.
Little Sisters of
Entrez.
Jesus.
Oui,
You're all invited. Come
passez,
in,
passez.
come in.
Nous sommes
We
dans
are
ce qui est vraiment la
in what
maison
was
mère.
truly the
Donc,
mother house.
la première
So,
partie
the
de
first
la
part
maison qui
of the
était donnée
house
à
that was
Petite Sœur
given to
Madeleine.
Little Sister Magdeleine.
Et c'est donc pour nous
And
une
for us,
ressource
it's a source.
pour nous
For
et pour
us,
ceux qui
and
viennent
for
en
those who will
visiter
come
et
to
qui
visit,
déjà sont venus
and who've
visiter.
already come to visit.
Donc, il me
So,
paraissait
it seemed to me
nécessaire qu'il y ait
necessary
une façon de
that there be
pouvoir faire
some way
rencontrer
of
Petite Sœur
allowing people
Madeleine.
to meet Little
Ça, c'est
Sister Magdeleine.
les pièces qui ont été
These
les
are
plus
the
habitées
rooms
par
where she
Petite Sœur
spent
Madeleine.
most of her time,
Parce que ici, quand
because
elle
when she
passait
used to
dans
come
cette
here
pièce,
in this room,
s'installaient les
this is where her
secrétariats. Elle
secretaries would stay.
avait les petites sœurs
She had
secrétaires
these
qui l'aidaient
secretary
pour
little sisters
taper,
that would
pour
help her
écrire
to
les
type
diaires,
things, to
etc.
write her diaries and
Et
all
la
that.
pièce à côté,
And
c'est
the
le
room
grand
next door
bureau,
was the
donc
big
c'était là où
office,
elle travaillait
so it's where
directement.
she used to work
Et à
directly.
côté, il y
And
a la
next
toute
to it,
petite pièce où elle
there's the
couchait.
tiny room where she would sleep.
Donc, oui, c'est un peu ça,
So
je
yeah,
pense qu'on
I
a
think
désiré,
that's what
que
we
ce soit un lieu
desired,
vivant, c'est pour
that it
ça,
be
un espace
living, a
mémoire,
place
un
to
espace où on
remember,
puisse la connaître
a
un
place
peu,
where we could get to know
connaître
her,
son
know her
message,
message.
et aussi tout
And I
particulièrement en
think
lien avec
it was
la ville
important to us
d'Aix
that it
et
be
avec le
linked
diocèse,
with the
car
diocese and with the
c'est
city
le
of
diocèse qui nous a
Aix-en-Provence,
accueillis.
because it's the diocese that
C'est
welcomed us.
l'évêque
It's the
Monseigneur de
Bishop
Provenchère qui
de
a
Provenchère
reconnu la
who
fraternité comme
recognized the
congrégation
fraternity as a
diocésaine et
diocesan
qui a, comme
congregation
dira Petite Sœur Madeleine,
and
il a
who
soutenu toutes les folies de
gave
la
her a
congrégation.
lot of support
Donc,
with a lot of the
ça
foolish
aussi,
things that we did at the beginning.
semble que ce
So
soit
it seemed
juste
to us to be
de remettre les
fitting
choses à leur place,
to
de les
put things
redonner
back
au
in their place
diocèse
and give
de
them back to the
Aix-en-Provence.
diocese in some way.
J'avais fait un
I
voyage
was
entre
traveling between
Tréfontaine
Trefontaine
et
and
le
the
Tibet.
Tibet,
En arrivant
and as we
en haut
got to the north of
d'Italie,
Italy,
on a
we
longé,
were
c'était à
going
San
through,
Remo,
I
je
think it was
crois,
in San Remo,
le
the
cimetière où
cemetery
était enterrée
where her
sa sœur. Et
sister
elle
was
dit, ma
buried, and she
sœur
said
est
to me,
là.
"My sister's here."
J'ai eu la grâce de pouvoir habiter
I
tout
spent
Gourte.
6 years in Togourt.
Alors là, les
So
amis
there,
donc j'ai
so
connu les
I
amis,
got
mes
to
premiers
know
amis de
the
Petite Sœur Madeleine,
first
donc
friends
Miss
of Little
Aouda,
Sister Madeleine,
Miss
among them
Aouda
Miss Sauda
Derviche,
and Aish,
les deux
the
premiers
two
amis qui
first
étaient
friends who were
aveugles.
both blind.
Et alors, quand j'ai vu une fois Sœur
So
Madeleine au
once
Tibet,
when I saw Little
elle m'a
Sister
demandé de
Madeleine in Tibet,
nouvelles
she
de Miss
asked for
Aouda.
news
Je l'ai
of Miss
saluée de sa
Sauda
part,
because I said hello
la
to her
Miss
from,
Aouda,
that's Miss Sauda.
et qui m'avait
And
dit
she
si
said
tu
to me,
vois
if you
Sœur
see
Madeleine,
Little
tu lui
Sister
demanderas
Madeleine,
des choses.
ask her for some shoes for
Alors, Sœur
me.
Madeleine m'a
So
dit
Little
de
Sister
quelle
Madeleine
couleur
wouldn't stop
de
asking me,
quelle pointure
what
elle a.
size are her feet?
Quand j'étais
When I was a
postulante à Togo,
postulant in Togourt,
l'accueil d'abord des amis
welcoming
de Petite
the
Sœur
friends
Madeleine
of
qui
Little
l'avaient
Sister
connue
Madeleine, those who'd known her,
et qui voulaient
and
toujours
who always
savoir
wanted
comment
to
elle
know
allait,
how
quand
she
elle allait
was, when she
venir,
was going to
etc.
come, etc.
Et puis, alors, ils savaient très très
And they
bien ce qu'on
knew
devait
very
vivre.
well what we ought
Et
to live.
notre ami
And our
Atman,
friend Atman,
qui avait bien
who
connu
had
Sœur
known Little Sister
Madeleine, qui avait
Madeleine
sa
very
cour
well,
contre la
and whose
nôtre,
courtyard was next
passait
to
la
ours,
porte
would
et
come through the
venait
door
voir
and come
si on
and
vivait
see
vraiment
if
comme
we were
Sœur
living
Madeleine avait
as
dit.
Little Sister Madeleine had said.
Et alors un jour, il est
And one day
venu,
he came
il est
in,
entré et il a
he
dit,
said,
les petites sœurs, ça
"Little
va plus.
sister, things are
Ah,
not right."
alors on est
So we
déjà
said,
qu'est-ce
"Well,
qui se passe?
what's wrong?"
Eh bien, Sœur Madeleine
So
viendrait,
if
elle serait
Little
pas
Sister Madeleine
contente.
came, she would
Ah
not
bon?
be happy. Oh
Ben
yeah?
oui, parce que vous
Yeah,
priez
because you're
plus
not
assez.
praying enough.
Parce qu'il y avait petite sœur
Because
Jeanne
we had
André
little sister
qui
Jeanne
était
André, who was a
sage-femme.
midwife.
Et donc,
So
forcément, on était
obviously we were
occupés là,
very
les
busy
mamans.
at times.
Et alors un
So
jour, il
one
se met
day he
derrière la porte
stood
de notre
behind the
cour
door of
quand
our
les femmes
courtyard, and when the women
frappaient.
would knock,
Il leur
he
disait,
would
tu vois
say to
pas
them,
qu'elles
"Can't
prient,
you
tu veux
see
pas
that
les
they're
laisser
praying? Leave
tranquilles.
them alone." I was sent to the tent, and it was the year when she came from Tunisia to see us. She went through Algeria. She came with little sister Marie-Louise and Léon, so they came to the tent, and they had little presents for everybody. They prepared presents for our neighbors, so they came with these presents, and all the neighbors were around us. And she saw that one lady went away. She went away because she had something to do. So she said, "There's one who's gone out." She went, "Go look for her." I went to look for her because she said, "No, she's got to be here with us because we're going to have presents." And that touched me. What attention to people. What delicate attention to people. People she didn't know. But she knew how to make herself a sister to them.
Ce qui m'a beaucoup frappé, c'est
what struck me a lot, she would speak to us a lot about her trips, and I had entered the fraternity without being aware that the fraternity was international. I thought I would stay in France. She would travel a lot, so when she was here, well, you can think we felt so lucky, and she would allow us access to her. She wouldn't be too busy to see us. We could go to see her, tell her our stories, where we wanted to go, and it would work out, or it didn't, because obviously things don't always work the way you'd want it. But it was like someone that you'd just seen yesterday. A great proximity. Even if she had 100,000 things in her head, plans or whatever, or questions, the present moment with the little sisters, it was like family. I was a postulant, and I went to say goodbye to little sister Madeleine before I took the boat in Marseille to go off to Chile. So she said to me, "You're going to be able to learn." And she said to me, "Be good." So I carried those words with me, I think, all my life. But afterwards, what marked me, I went off to Cameroon 2 months later. And I was lucky that I could come back 3 times and meet her each time. And each time she'd ask me, "But you're going to go back, aren't you?" And I'd say, "Yes, of course, Mother." She'd say, yeah, you got to go back and you got to put down roots. So that helped me a lot.
Alors je suis entrée à la fraternité.
So I joined the fraternity the first year that little sister Madeleine had her first trip to the Eastern European countries. So when I joined, people asked me, where did I want to go? Now, we were all asked that question, and I said, well, I have a desire, but I know it's not possible yet to go there. Well, where do you want to go? So I said, well, Romania. I was thinking of Romania because there'd been some refugees during the war who'd come to our place, and they'd been very nice. And I was told, yeah, she's just gone. And at the end of a week, I was supposed to go off and meet her because she was going through Austria and Regensburg. So I went off in hitchhiking with the Vietnamese little sister. We took 4 days to get there, but we got there safely. But what struck me was the simplicity for meals, for meetings. She lived with us. Yeah. Little sister Madeleine, what struck me, when she would come to Regensburg, she would be completely in the reality of the fraternity. She'd go say hello to the neighbors. She wanted to see what was going on in the kitchen. Once she made a special dish with eggs because she liked that. She was very present. She'd live in the little house. And there was a young guy in our village who, sometimes he came back he'd been drinking too much. And when he'd see that the light was on at little sister Madeleine, she would say, "You can always come and see me." And he'd always go in and see her to say good night. What I liked was the way that she would immerse herself in the reality where she was. The souvenir I keep of her is that I came here at the Tibet for my observer's stay. And little sister Madeleine arrived. She was just coming back from Eastern Europe. So I was welcomed in the big conference room that was full of little sisters sitting on the floor. And little sister Madeleine told all kinds of stories. private things. And it struck me a lot because me, I was a foreigner, didn't know anything. But she would dare to tell everything that she'd lived over there. And that touched me a lot. She used to give us a meeting every Monday evening, and I remember I loved those meetings. Very simple and very joyful. Always she'd make us laugh. When I arrived in Rome, so Little Sister Madeleine, she was at the doorstep of the reception, and she said to me, "It's you?" Yeah, my name then was Monique Naomi. She said, "It's you?" She says, "Well, you don't look very sturdy." Don't worry, there's room for everybody here. What struck me in Little Sister Madeleine was her respectful love, especially for those who were more fragile, more weak, more wounded in society. So I'll give you a personal example. When I was 5, I had an illness that resulted in a malformation of my bones, and I had one leg that was shorter than the other one by 5 centimeters, and I limped a lot. When I was 15, I heard about Brother Charles, and I wanted to live in the fraternity. I had a novitiate. I was at the novitiate in Trefontaine in Rome, and I met Little Sister Madeleine there. It was just when I arrived that she decided that little sisters, we were now going to wear pajamas. So, okay, we all kind of smiled, and then she said, "Yeah, next week we're going to have a demonstration. We're going to choose 2 or 3 little sisters who are going to be models and who are going to come and present us. And so we'll see what this is going to look like." And why? I don't know. I was chosen to be one of the 3. So before the meeting on Monday, Little Sister Madeleine called us and she says, "Come and let me see how you look." So I came to the council room, and when it was my turn, Little Sister Madeleine lifted her arms to heaven. She turned to Sister Jeanne and said, "Well, this is impossible." And I thought, well, what's impossible? And Little Sister Madeleine said, "Look, look, who made those pajamas for you?" So she called that little sister and she says, "Didn't you see that this little sister has a handicap? She's got one leg that's shorter than the other. You should have been more careful that that pajama be level for both legs and not one up, one down. So you're going to go and fix that so that both of them fit her well." I said, "Listen, Mother, really, this is not important. This is just something for the night. Who's going to see me when I'm in my pajamas?" And Little Sister Madeleine said, "Oh, no, you have not understood anything." And then she called everybody to witness, and she said, "Little sisters, I beg you, more somebody is wounded by life, more we have to be careful. We've got to do everything so that everything be beautiful, even in small details like the leg of a pajama that's not adjusted." When we entered the fraternity, we were asked where did we want to go. So we had a paper, and I had marked I wanted to be among prostitutes, prisoners, and Latin America. So when you asked us to participate, I remembered I had a letter that Little Sister Madeleine wrote to me in January 1963. "Dear Little Sister Thérèse Véronique, thank you for your Christmas letter. May the infant Jesus give you his joy throughout this year. I'm happy with everything that you've written to me. If you are accepted to begin the novitiate, would you be ready to go do your novitiate in Brazil? Keep your great love for prisons, for prostitutes, because they need it so much. Tenderly, Little Sister Madeleine." At the time of my final vows, my family came to Trefontaine. She greeted my father, and I saw in her eyes an extraordinary light, and that marked me. The first time I saw her, I was a postulant at Monte d'Avignon, and it was the year of the apostolic visitation. So the little sisters had told me, "Don't try to see Little Sister Madeleine. We can't bother her. She's next door with little sister Jeanne. And one day I went to get the milk, and when I came back to the door, I knocked, and who do I see? Little sister Madeleine, little sister Jeanne. And she said to me, "Oh, who's this postulant?" So we had a little exchanged a few words.
Je connaissais un petit peu Frère Charles.
I knew Brother Charles a bit, and I had a great desire to follow him. He wasn't that known, but finally I found out that there are sisters that were following him, and I looked for them. And it's thanks to the monks at Trefontane who put me in contact with the little sisters. So one day I went to Rome, because I lived in Ravenna, and I searched. I didn't know where was this Trefontane. And I met a little sister, Joanna Kay, an American little sister. Very nice, very smiling, but we couldn't understand each other. But she understood that I wanted to see the little sister, so she gave me signs to follow her. And I got into the bus with her. I got down with her, and I followed her. When we got to Trefontane, she had to go to the right, and I needed to go to the left. So she signaled to me which way I should go. So I got into that alleyway that leads up to Trefontane, and beside the statue of Saint Benedict, before you go around, I saw a lady, quite elderly, who was working and who was raking leaves. And I was surprised because I'd been told that there were young little sisters. So I looked at her, and then I kept looking at her, and I saw that she had a rope around her waist. And one or two little sisters, afterwards I knew it was little sister Elena, who were pulling on this rope to make her secure. And she was working, and she was, I had remained very surprised by what I saw. And then I continued my road to go up to Trefontane. And there, a little sister came to talk to me, and she said to me, wait for an Italian little sister. So a novice came. And I said to her, is it possible to see, she said to me, there's the foundress. I said, can I meet her? She said, no, not right now because she's working. I said, oh yeah, she's very busy. Yeah, she's raking leaves along the road. I joined the fraternity in 1970, and it was a time of a lot of construction of Trefontane. And in Trefontane, there was little sister Hélène Marthe, who was Swiss like me and who was working in the construction, and I was helping her. And at that time, we were digging under the white building to make rooms for the students. Little sister Madeleine loved construction work. She would come and see us every day to see what we were doing. When I was in Trefontane, she would go around the construction places, and she'd always tell me, put flowers there, put flowers on the terrace, red geraniums, I love them. She loved nature. I saw her in 1989. She was very ill here in Trefontane. There was here in the Tibet, there was the 50 years of the fraternity. She hadn't been able to come down, and I came upstairs to give her the greeting of peace. I was the only one here from Latin America. And afterwards, I saw her in Trefontane when she was very, very, very weak on her bed. And there again, I came to embrace her in the name of all the little sisters in Latin America. So I didn't know little sister Madeleine when she was living. I was already interested in the fraternity. I used to go to Trefontane for long moments of prayer, but I was quite shy. And I didn't want to meet her. I didn't know French either, so it was too difficult for me. But one day I was in Rome, because I lived there, and at the Piazza Venezia, I met a brother from Tizé who had a garland of flowers in his hands, and he said to me, "You know where I'm going? I'm going to Trefontaine," because he knew that I was interested in the Little Sisters. I said, "What, you're going there with the flowers?" He said, "Well, didn't you hear? Little Sister Magdeleine has just died." And me, I didn't know that. So he said, "Listen, these flowers are from India." I couldn't remember. He'd gone to see somebody at the airport who'd brought these flowers that had been sent by the Little Sisters from India for Little Sister Madeleine Saltner. So that's how I found out. So I was working, but I took the next morning off work and I went to Trefontaine. And I spent a long moment in the chapel. I remember it very well. I was sitting on the ground. There was lots of people. There was Cardinal Peronio, I'm sure of that. Somebody from the Orthodox Church who was praying. And I stayed a long time. Something happened between me and Little Sister Magdeleine in that moment.